Hello there, every pony, and welcome to the next episode of Current Canon. Today, we are going to take an in-depth look at the latest episode, Castle Sweet Castle.
Written by two new writers and tackling quite a significant aspect of the show, this episode has a lot to live up to. So, what's our take on it?
This story starts out with Twilight and Fluttershy cleaning up the various critters. As they finish up, Fluttershy mentions that Twilight must be ready to go home and wash up, but as this happens, Twilight decides to kick Angel in the mud, claiming that she should stick around longer to help give Angel a bath.
As the intro ends, we see Twilight finishing up with Angel, and as Fluttershy attempts to start a conversation, Twilight seems to keep distracted. After mentioning that she is about to go to bed and rest up for breakfast the next morning, Twilight flies off to Pinky's to help with said breakfast.
At breakfast, Twilight is asleep while the others talk about how she has been a little too helpful, and they believe that she is hiding something. As Twilight wakes up from her pancake pillow, the others decide to confront Twilight and discover that she's been avoiding this castle because it doesn't feel like home. The rest of them then offer to decorate the castle while Twilight and Spike decide to go to the spa.
We then get a song about how the rest of the main six are gathering things that make them feel at home, and talk about how they're going to make the castle feel like a home as well. By the end, the castle looks absurd, with each individual touch clashing with each other. As Spike walks in and reaffirms this, the girls then tell Spike to stall Twilight so they can fix the mess they made.
Spike's stalling also leads us to looking over the burnt remains of the tree and have them think of the memories they made. Needless to say, the feels ensued. Also, why hasn't any pony decided to, clean up the debris?
Back with the rest of the main six, they start arguing over whose decoration should go and how much. Once they wind up removing everything, they start realizing that they were thinking more about what makes them feel at home instead of what makes Twilight feel at home.
They then, for some reason, head to the remains of the tree to start a reprise of the song sung earlier as they dig up the old tree and buy some special looking gems.
Twilight finally returns home, and the main six seemingly have done nothing until they enter the throne room, where it is revealed that the remains of the library have been turned into a large chandelier with crystals that reflect a specific memory of her time there.
After the group hug, they head to the dining room, where it is revealed that the others have put in toned down homely touches on each part of the castle, and with that, we have our story.
This story is great in that it's a very relatable conflict for a lot of people. I, in particular, know what it's like to be uncomfortable in a new surrounding, growing up moving from place to place due to military life. This relatability really makes this story shine in my eyes, and even those who can't really relate can feel empathy for Twilight. I mean, come on. After having Twilight live in Golden Oaks for so long, nobody can say that they weren't a little sad seeing it destroyed.
Speaking of sadness, the thing that really impressed us was the emotional weight of this episode, and that cannot be understated. To put it quite simply, get ready for some feels this episode. The moment we see Spike and Twilight reflecting over the remains is emotional, and it truly conveys a feeling of genuine loss and sadness. Then on the other end of the spectrum, the moment is revealed that the treehouse was used as a chandelier, with the memories hanging from them. The only words we can think of was just wow. I guess the best way to sum this up is that it lives up to the emotional expectations we were hoping for. And coming from two new writers of the series, this is quite impressive.
The biggest gripe I had with this episode, in our opinion, was that it felt recycled from another episode, just with more emotional content. Specifically, it rips off ideas from Testing 1, 2, 3, where 5 of the main 6 try to help one of them out, but are so focused on what helps them that they forget to take in consideration what helps the person they are actually helping. Now, they aren't exactly the same, there are some notable differences, but when I can almost immediately think of one specific episode that this one parallels with, I think that might be a problem.
There's also a big contrivance that's just glaring. So you mean to tell me, after spending all day arguing and realizing that they were only making themselves feel at home, and that once they realize that this is a great idea, they decided to bring the treehouse into the palace and manage to pull it off before Twilight gets back? No. I'm sorry, but there's no way they could have done that. Plus, how did they even get it in there?
There are 2 points we want to cover as far as characters. First off is Spike and Twilight. What was really good in this episode is the interactions between these two. They really showed off the brother-sister dynamic and was really good.
Yes, Spike's colors really shined here as he knew almost exactly what he needed to say in order to keep Twilight occupied. Like doing small stuff, like pretending that he wants a different kind of bed in his castle. And medium stuff, like convincing, oh, and by convincing, I mean forcing her to walk back to the castle, and large stuff, like getting a full body Swedish massage for bulk biceps. Silver lining, he's going to feel like $1,000,000 in the future.
The second point is that each of the main six's personalities had very organic writing, and each interaction they had with one another fit perfectly. Interactions like when they are trying to take down Rarity's decorations and it's slowly evolving into passive aggressiveness feels very natural in this situation.
As for visuals, the lighting and shadows that went into Fluttershy's cottage in the beginning was absolutely amazing. Almost as amazing as the lighting and shading in the Hearts as Strong as Horses video. Also, the gemstones that reflected within the tree calendar was beautifully made, and the memories that called back to the previous episodes were very well executed. Bad news? That was it.
There isn't too much to say in regards to sound design and music in this episode. Sounds weren't very noticeable, and the music was fitting to each situation. And that's not to say that this was a bad, it just wasn't very standout. However, we did get another song this episode, entitled Make This Castle a Home, and overall, it's okay. I like how he takes advantage of the cast to really give us powerful chords for the ends of some of the phrases. My main problem, though, is that it's just forgettable. This song is coming off the heels of Our Town, a pretty good song and very memorable. Compared to that, this song just doesn't have me as interested. However, it does work well to propel the story forward, so it does have its purpose to the episode. Song numbers are often used to convey large chunks of story in a short amount of time, and this song does this very well, showing the girls both screwing up and getting the castle together, and putting the tree chandelier up. Overall, it's an okay song, but it's more useful for story delivery rather than the song itself.
The moral is simple and straightforward. Home isn't where you live, but the memories you make. And I really feel for Twilight. Going somewhere new where you don't know a thing about how anything works can really put a damper on your spirit.
This episode has a lot of good things in it. Its story and characters really shone brightly in this episode, most with the moral and the humor presented. And while the presentation didn't really stand out as well, it didn't detract from the episode's overall quality. With all this in consideration, we give this episode 8 burnt trees out of 10. Join us next week for what looks like an apple bloom episode in Bloom and Gloom. For now, I'm Fedora Brony.
And I'm NC Brony, and we will see you next time.